Imagine a tiny settlement huddled on the tip of Manhattan Island. This was New Amsterdam, a humble trading outpost of the Dutch West India Company. A far cry from the towering metropolis we know today, but the seed of something extraordinary had been planted. Centuries later, that seed has blossomed into New York City, a skyline that pierces the clouds, a symbol of American ambition and global power. It's a place where dreams are made and broken, fortunes are won and lost, and the pace of life is unmatched. But the story of New York is more than just skyscrapers and financial empires. It's a story of relentless innovation, of bold individuals who dared to push boundaries and reshape the world. From the invention of the skyscraper to the birth of hip-hop, New York has always been a crucible of creativity. New York is a melting pot of cultures, a vibrant tapestry woven from the threads of countless immigrants who came seeking a better life. They brought their traditions, their dreams, and their determination, shaping the city's identity and enriching its soul. From Wall Street's influence on global finance to its cultural impact on music, art, and fashion, New York City's reach extends to every corner of the planet. It is a truly global city, a crossroads of ideas and cultures. So join us as we embark on a journey through time, exploring the entire history of New York City, from its humble beginnings to its current status as a global icon. This is the story of a city that never sleeps, a city that has shaped and continues to be shaped by the world. Get ready to experience the Big Apple's fascinating and turbulent past, the story of New York, New York. Long before the arrival of Europeans, the island of Manhattan was home to the Lenape people, also known as the Delaware Indians. They were skilled hunters, fishermen, and farmers, living in harmony with the land. The Lenape lived in small, self-sufficient villages, relying on the bounty of the forests, rivers, and fertile soil. They cultivated corn, beans, and squash, a combination known as the Three Sisters, providing them with a balanced and sustainable diet. The Lenape and explorers meeting. The Lenape's traditional way of life was forever changed with the arrival of European explorers. While encounters were initially cautious and curious, they would ultimately lead to devastating consequences for the native population. Dutch ship arrival. In 1609, Henry Hudson, sailing for the Dutch East India Company, explored the river that now bears his name, claiming the territory for the Netherlands. This marked the beginning of Dutch colonization in the region. Early New Amsterdam. In 1624, the Dutch West India Company established a permanent settlement on Manhattan Island, calling it New Amsterdam. It was initially a small trading post focused primarily on the lucrative fur trade. Early New Amsterdam. In 1624, the Dutch West India Company established a permanent settlement on Manhattan Island, calling it New Amsterdam. It was initially a small trading post focused primarily on the lucrative fur trade. The beaver fur trade, particularly in beaver pelts, became the engine of New Amsterdam's early economy. The Dutch relied on the Lenape to supply the furs, leading to complex and often unequal trading relationships. Map of New Netherland. New Amsterdam grew to become the capital of the larger Dutch colony of New Netherland, which encompassed parts of present-day New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Connecticut. The Dutch established settlements along the Hudson River and Long Island Sound. Peter Minuit. Under the leadership of Peter Minuit, the first Director General of New Netherland, the Dutch famously purchased Manhattan Island from the Lenape, purportedly for 60 guilders worth of goods. The fairness and understanding of this transaction have been debated ever since.
Despite its small size, New Amsterdam was surprisingly diverse. While the Dutch dominated, the settlement attracted people from all over Europe, including Walloons, French Huguenots, Scandinavians, and even some English settlers, all seeking opportunity in this new land. Tragically, the population also included enslaved Africans brought to New Amsterdam by the Dutch West India Company to work on farms and in households. Their forced labor played a significant, though often overlooked, role in the colony's early development, and their presence highlights a dark chapter in New York's history. The Dutch West India Company, driven by profit, governed New Netherland and New Amsterdam. They established laws, oversaw trade, and appointed officials to manage the colony. However, their primary focus was on maximizing profits from the fur trade and other resources, which often led to conflicts with the settlers and a lack of attention to their needs. Life in early New Amsterdam was far from easy. The settlers faced numerous challenges, including outbreaks of disease like smallpox and malaria, which decimated the population. Conflicts with the Lenape people, fueled by land disputes and unfair trading practices, were also a constant threat. The settlers struggled to build a sustainable and peaceful community in this new environment. Yet, despite these challenges, New Amsterdam continued to grow. The Dutch began to develop the infrastructure of the settlement, building roads, canals, and sturdy brick buildings. A defensive wall, which eventually gave its name to Wall Street, was constructed to protect the colony from attack. The foundations were being laid for a bustling and prosperous port city. However, New Amsterdam's success drew the attention of a powerful rival, England. The English, eager to expand their own colonial empire, began to cast covetous eyes on New Netherland and its strategic location. Tensions between the Dutch and the English grew steadily, foreshadowing a looming conflict that would soon determine the fate of New Amsterdam and shape the future of what would become New York City.
In 1664, without a shot fired, the English seized New Netherland from the Dutch. New Amsterdam was renamed New York in honor of the Duke of York, brother of King Charles II. Dutch rule had come to an end, and the city entered a new era under British control. Under British rule, New York City continued to grow as a major port and commercial center. However, tensions began to rise between the colonists and the British Crown. The colonists felt increasingly burdened by taxes and regulations imposed by the British government without their consent. The Stamp Act of 1765, which required colonists to pay a tax on printed materials, sparked widespread protests in New York City. Colonists argued that they should not be taxed without representation in the British Parliament. Secret organizations like the Sons of Liberty emerged, organizing boycotts and protests against British policies. New York City became a hotbed of revolutionary activity,
with colonists increasingly determined to resist British oppression. The American Revolution broke out in 1775, and New York City quickly became a key strategic location. The city was occupied by British forces for much of the war, and a devastating fire in 1776 destroyed a significant portion of the city. After the British evacuation in 1783, George Washington triumphantly led his troops back into New York City. The city was finally free from British rule, and the newly independent United States of America had been born. In 1789, New York City served as the first capital of the United States. George Washington was inaugurated as the first president at Federal Hall, marking a new beginning for the city and the nation.
The 19th century witnessed a massive wave of immigration that transformed New York City into a global metropolis. Millions of people from all over the world arrived at Ellis Island, seeking a better life in America. Many immigrants settled in overcrowded tenement buildings in neighborhoods like the Lower East Side. These tenements were often unsanitary and dangerous, with families crammed into small, poorly ventilated apartments. Immigrants often faced exploitation and poverty, working long hours in sweatshops and factories for meager wages. Child labor was common, and working conditions were often hazardous. New York City experienced rapid industrialization during the 19th century. Factories sprang up across the city, producing goods for both domestic and international markets. This industrial growth fueled the city's economic expansion, but also created new social problems. The Gilded Age saw the rise of immense wealth and luxury in New York City. While many struggled to survive, a small elite class lived in opulent mansions and enjoyed extravagant lifestyles. The stark contrast between wealth and poverty led to the rise of social reform movements. Activists like Jacob Riis, Jane Addams, and others worked to address issues like poverty, child labor, and unsanitary living conditions. Despite the challenges, the 19th century also saw the construction of iconic landmarks that symbolized the city's ambition and progress. The Brooklyn Bridge, completed in 1883, became a symbol of New York's engineering prowess and its connection between Manhattan and Brooklyn. The Statue of Liberty, dedicated in 1886, became a powerful symbol of freedom and opportunity for immigrants arriving in New York Harbor. It represented the hope and promise of a new life in America.
The 1920s were a time of unprecedented prosperity and cultural innovation in New York City. The Jazz Age transformed the city's nightlife, and the Harlem Renaissance celebrated African American art and culture. The Roaring Twenties came crashing to an end with the stock market crash of 1929, plunging New York City and the nation into the Great Depression. Millions of New Yorkers lost their jobs and homes, and the city struggled to cope with widespread poverty and despair. Bread lines became a common sight as people lined up for food and assistance. World War II brought New York City out of the Depression as the city became a major center for war production and troop deployments. New Yorkers rallied together to support the war effort. The Civil Rights era brought social and political upheaval to New York City. Activists fought for racial equality and an end to discrimination. The 1970s were a time of economic hardship and urban decay in New York City. Crime rates soared, and the city faced a near-bankruptcy crisis. The 1980s saw a resurgence of Wall Street and a period of economic growth in New York City. However, this prosperity was not shared by all, and inequality continued to rise. Despite economic struggles, New York City remained a vibrant center of cultural innovation. Hip-hop music emerged from the Bronx, becoming a global phenomenon. The 20th century ended in tragedy with the September 11 attacks, which destroyed the World Trade Center and claimed the lives of thousands of innocent people. New York City was forever changed. In the wake of the attacks, New Yorkers came together to rebuild and heal. The 9/11 Memorial stands as a testament to the city's resilience and remembrance of those who were lost. Today, New York City is a global center of finance, culture, and innovation. It is a city that has overcome many challenges and continues to evolve.
In the 21st century, New York City remains a global center for finance, driving the world economy and attracting investment from around the globe. Wall Street continues to be a powerful force. Times Square, with its dazzling lights and bustling crowds, symbolizes the city's energy and its enduring appeal as a tourist destination. New York City's greatest strength lies in its diverse population, representing every corner of the world. Each neighborhood has its own unique character and contributes to the city's rich cultural tapestry. New York City is a global capital of art and culture, boasting world-class museums, theaters, music venues, and a thriving independent art scene. New York City's tech industry has experienced explosive growth in recent years, attracting innovative companies and talented individuals from around the world. This has created a new dynamic and energy in the city. Luxury retail continues to thrive in New York City, attracting wealthy shoppers from around the world. Fifth Avenue remains a symbol of the city's affluence and style. Despite its prosperity, New York City faces significant challenges. The affordable housing crisis threatens to displace longtime residents and make the city inaccessible to many. Climate change poses a serious threat to New York City, with rising sea levels and extreme weather events potentially impacting the city's infrastructure and way of life. Despite these challenges, New Yorkers remain resilient and committed to building a better future. Community activism and grassroots movements are working to address the city's problems and create a more just and sustainable society. As New York City moves forward into the future, it faces many issues. But in the past, New York has always risen to the challenge, overcoming adversity and rebuilding a stronger and more resilient city. New York continues to draw people in from all over the globe and continues to shape the cultural identity of the United States. What does the future hold for New York? Only time will tell.
Looking to the future, New York City must prioritize building resilient infrastructure that can withstand the challenges of climate change and population growth. This includes investing in flood protection, upgrading transportation systems, and promoting sustainable building practices. Addressing the affordable housing crisis is essential to ensuring that New York City remains a place for everyone, regardless of income. This requires innovative solutions, such as building more affordable housing units, preserving existing affordable housing, and providing rent subsidies to low-income residents. Creating a sustainable transportation system is crucial to reducing pollution and improving quality of life in New York City. This includes expanding public transportation, promoting cycling and walking, and transitioning to electric vehicles. New York City must take bold action to mitigate the effects of climate change. This includes reducing greenhouse gas emissions, investing in renewable energy, and adapting to the impacts of rising sea levels and extreme weather events. These measures must be taken. The future of New York City must be one of equity and opportunity for all. This requires addressing racial and economic disparities, creating access to education and job training, and promoting social justice. New York City's story is far from over. It's a story that continues to be written every day by the millions of people who call this city home, shaping its identity and destiny. A story of resilience, reinvention, and the unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit. The city that never sleeps will undoubtedly continue to surprise and inspire the world for generations to come, always building and ever changing.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration of history's greatest mysteries. Let me know in the comments which North or South American mystery you'd like me to uncover next. And in our next adventure, we'll be venturing into another corner of the world to unravel one of history's most perplexing enigmas. Stay tuned to find out where we're headed next.